Ty's camera just died. So we swap. We can keep rolling. All your stuff goes on your channel, all my stuff goes on my channel, and then a month down the road, we'll release it all together on one big channel.
Sure.
So we get the full back-to-back. And then any funny bits or anything, we can make like YouTube shorts.
Sure.
So then we have like a midterm video, a long-term video, and then shorts.
Gotcha.
And that's how we reach every narrative on YouTube. I tripped. I thought there was someone driving up behind us. Yeah, it's kind of sideways. There we go. That's straighter. Yeah, thankfully. Just like that path we were on the other day, I was like, man, this needs to be shaded over. Yeah, I only know this area because when I was running Mountain Ram, this was part of the trail. Okay. Now, we never practiced this part of the trail, but the beginning of the event took place on this trail.
Right on. Yeah, that's one thing nice about your job is to learn places.
Do shit like that, yeah. Oh, that's kind of neat up there. BQ. I wonder what that is.
It's an old bridge, 1908.
Yeah.
More than 100 years.
And it's funny because anytime I hear someone reference that bridge, they're like, oh, you know that old train bridge? And of course I know what they're talking about. But every time they talk about it, they act like it's out of service. Like just the way they talk about it. It's almost like it's just an old bridge, it's barely standing, it's out of service type thing. But trains drive over that all the time.
I think it's time to jump into a conspiracy.
Okay.
So, I'll let you start.
Well, you gotta provoke me. I can't just pull something out of my pocket.
You say that, but...
Here, no, I already have stuff in my head to go on about.
No, I don't know, I like the topic that we were talking about yesterday, for example.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess not yesterday. Day before that.
I don't know, you gotta give me a little more to run on. Yeah, exactly.
I think the process is, since I'm so new to this, it's not the fact that I'm on camera, it's just I want to sound good.
Yeah,
so it's like,
don't worry,
gotta make the topic good.
Don't do that, just flow.
Let's just go about, I like the concept since it's still in my head about, I guess, the idea of we are all just angels.
Right. And there you go, you got me started up, man. So it's not just that, it's the idea that a lot of scientists now are wondering if we live in a simulation world. And you would think that that would battle the narrative that Christians have, that God created this world. You know what, I want to see what's down here first. Here we go. Trail hunters right here. Kind of just looks like a homeless shelter. I don't think it's worth going that way. But yeah, you would think that a scientific approach to looking at the universe and suggesting that it's a hologram or a simulation would go against the narrative that God created the universe and everything. But I agree with that statement, the idea, Because like we were talking about the other day. Now we didn't get that on camera, so a lot of people missed it, but I would suggest that I would just pick this up once we pass this guy. I don't want to sound like a loony talking about this shit. Running up this with like a 30K rock was pretty tough.
Yeah, no, I guarantee we thought the same thing.
What?
This guy didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't really want to talk about this around people because I don't know. People judge when they hear shit like that. That's like outside of their paradigm.
Sure.
Then they look at you all weird and you're like, man, fucking mind your business. But yeah, so how do I paint this out? Due to some near-death experiences or memories people claim to have before being born, they remember being in heaven and talking with God or with Jesus Christ about like the trials that they will undertake once they get born into the world, almost as if they're volunteering to go through with these trials to, I don't know what the goal is, to help further the human experience of life on earth. So I've heard it said that, you know, we pick our parents and we pick our children. I remember one testimony, a girl was talking about how, you know, she was picking her children and Jesus Christ or God, whoever she was with, said, are you sure you want to raise this child? Because for this child, it's going to be particularly tough raising them. Maybe a little more tough than most children. And she was like, yeah, I'll take on the challenge. And then it was the same thing for the other child she chose. It's going to be particularly tough with this child too. And she's just like, you know, I'll take the challenge. And she says that she has those as memories from before she was born. And she goes through, this was maybe this was confessionals, maybe this was like an L.A. Marzulli video, but then she goes through talking about the difficulty she actually had raising her children, which might have been what the dream was about or the memory was about. Hey, it's going to be particularly tough raising these children. Now, I don't really have the details off the top of my head, like some of the stuff they endured, but
get the concept of
yeah. But and then in the Bible, there you got that philosophy of heaven and hell, right?
Yeah.
And when we die, we are to be, depending on the choices we made in our life, we are to be taken up or down. And when we're taken up, what happens is we ditch our body and our spirit is left outside of our body, right next to where we died pretty much. And we have to wait for angels to come and take us to heaven. Because from what I've heard, first of all, they have to give you a glorified body. And that's in the Bible, a glorified body, which is basically how we're given this body, but this body's full of sin. The glorified body is the body you need to enter heaven, and it has no sin in that body. So sinning is pretty much impossible because it wasn't built into the nature of that body. The nature of that body we're given was built in pure holiness. There was a trail down there we could have taken, but who cares? There's another one down there.
You can see if there's a path leading there.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Like we're gonna do all of that. We'll probably get to that power plant and such. Are you tracking what I'm saying, or am I too all over the place?
No.
Yeah, so like, now alternatively, if you don't go to heaven, you'll be taken to hell. So when you die, your soul waits outside of its body until the demons that possessed you most of your life come and retrieve you and take you down to hell. Now, I hear this from near-death experiences, so this is where I kind of get this idea. And like, all near-death experiences pretty much have the same story to tell. It all happens pretty much the same way. Like, how much do you know about DMT?
Just the whole, is it, okay, I'm going to take two guesses here.
Yeah.
A, I know it's a drug, and B, isn't it a chemical that you can release in your brain?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's probably one of the most hallucinogenic drugs.
Oh, for sure it is.
And they have developed it to a point where they can have a constant IV drip of DMT into your body. And the reason they're doing that is because they're trying to have,
Realm, right?
yeah, they're trying to have people map out the DMT realm.
Yep.
Now, everyone who's partaking in these experiences all around the world, mapping out this realm, all map it out the exact same way, which suggests that it's not an individual's experience that shapes this realm. It's a real place that everyone goes to once they're on this drug. Now, I had a point in bringing that up. I don't exactly remember.
Take your time.
Oh, but what I'm suggesting is because everyone basically agrees and has the same story, it kind of adds more validity to the facts that this could be a real place rather than just one person's hallucination. And so I suggest the same thing with near-death experiences. Is if everyone is having the same type of experience on a near-death experience, it's probably because that's how they're supposed to happen rather than it being one person's interpretation of the near-death experience. So when it comes to heaven and hell, and whoever has the heaven ones and whoever has the hell ones, they're the same as everyone else's who suffered the same fate. That probably is how it goes rather than it just being a dream. So
What you're saying is,
it's consistent.
yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're taken to hell, you're not given a body because your spirit is to be eternally tormented, and you're not supposed to be able to fight back in hell. So because you have nothing to fight back with, like I've heard that people that go to hell say it's extremely heavy and you can't move anything, you can barely move yourself, you have no power there because you weren't given a body that has power. It's just the sin nature of your spirit that's suffering there, and your sin is heavy, it weighs heavily on you, and so that's why it's almost unbearable to move while you're there, and you're just constantly punished and tormented for the tormenting that you granted upon people on earth. Now, so for heaven, like I said, so what I've heard is being in the sight of the Lord is so bright, it's like being engulfed in fire. And actually, when he comes back and takes over the world, I'm pretty sure he burns the enemy through fire because of his sight is so bright. He's so pure white of light, it engulfs his enemies in fire. Something like that is very loose what I'm saying. So in order to be able to survive in his sight, they have to give you a glorified body that can survive in his sight, but also be as holy as you are. So when your physical body dies, they give you a spiritual armor basically, so that your spirit can survive in the sight of the Lord.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
yeah. Now okay, not only that, you know, if we are surviving eternally with God after our human experience is over, does that make us angels once we die? Do we get granted into the kingdom of heaven to become angels, or are we just a further surviving iteration of humanity? Or is that what angels are? So the theory I possess is that the world we live in is like a video game. Because of these pre-birth memories that people have, it's almost like remembering that you were creating your character. You're creating the backstory, the traits you're going to have, the family that you're going to choose, the trials you're going to go through. And then you're born into the game. But most of us are meant to forget the game. Unless we have like you know how some video games you can get like the special edition or the limited edition, and it comes with more gear than the normal game. Well, maybe our special edition or limited edition of this video game is just us remembering where we were before. So yeah. Now that's kind of a stretch, but that's just the way I look at it. So then we're born into this world. And so I can't wait to hear this back and be like, man, just stop rambling, get your story straight.
It's good. I think actually I was just brainstorming. I'll pause you there in the head.
Yeah.
Or in the video.
Give me a break.
Yeah, for sure. But I like where this is going, and I think what it gave me another idea for videos. Instead of, you know, just turning on a camera and
Well, it's kind of interesting. I don't want to go over there. It's all swampy,
dirty.
but yeah.
Instead of just turning on a camera and letting it flow, I mean, yes, that's good. But what if instead, I like these hikes, but instead we just started,
Flowing on the hike.
well, we mapped it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the idea of
Pre-brainstorm what you're going to talk about.
instead of, you know, kind of like podcasting
Yeah.
a little bit, but through a hike.
Podcast on a walk.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, could be ideas for the channel.
Yeah,
Certain videos you could do.
I'm cool with that.
But
This
yeah,
looks nice. Some shelter away from the sun.
get down here. You want to get some water?
Yeah, do you want some? I wouldn't mind some. We'll just push it a little deeper in here.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm at 117, 118 heart rate. It's probably because I'm like mumbling and walking.
Talking,
Yeah.
backpack.
If this camera dies, then guess what? You're gonna have to tune into Ty's video to pick up the rest of this conversation.
Perfect. Way to lead your followers.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if you have your own personal channel built yet, but we're definitely
have a
gonna
few.
do it. So I won't give them the name right now, but I'll put it in the description. We'll stop here. We'll stop up there. Why not? I'll put it in the description once we get it all sorted out.
Sure.
Here's a good place.
Some rocks over there are.
Rocks?
Anyway,
Who cares? I don't care, man. Right here on this log.
sure.
Oh, here.
You got that.
Yeah. I might even just pause this so it doesn't overheat or die.